Alright guys, so pardon the noise in the background because that is the 3D printing the boat Benchy. Anyway, what I wanted to do was this part is now that you have your 3D printer and it's printing away, how do you do how do you import files and all that stuff? How do you put your stuff in? So first off, you want to get the Orca slicer. That's been what's been recommended to use. And then I want you guys to this particular knowledge that I got from this guy. Can you guys read that? It's his name is Itsmeadmade. That guy with the cap on. That's his website or his YouTube video that I go to. And in my channel, the people that I always go to, that I reference to, I always say out who they are because they are really, really good. And the 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 one that you the video that I went to, this is the particular video that I learned a lot from. The title is Orca Slicer 101 Beginner's Guide to Orca Slicer Software. So I'm gonna go through my slicer experience again. This would be the this is just a recreation of what I did of my first job. But everything that I'm gonna talk to, this guy talked to in a much better way. So look at his video, okay? So we're gonna first open up Orca Slicer. And I apologize, my setup is not set up to look at the camera, my TV. So I'll adjust the camera as I go along. This is the project that I'm working on next. So I already did it. So I kind of know what to do and what to look out for. So first is we want to create a new project. And as you can see, the build plate is over here. One thing I did notice, as you can see the build plate, it actually references exactly what your build plate looks like. You can even see this part right here that corresponds, and usually right in this corner is where it says A or B. That's the texture that you're talking about, so you know exactly where it is. And then this part right here is when you add an object into your build plate. So we're gonna add, it's gonna open up the usual thing, and the one I'm looking for is called the side door left up. So we're gonna open that up. Now, as you can see, this has a left and a right side part. And also, if you do your left button mouse, it will move the object around. And then if you right button your mouse, you move the entire build plate around. That's how you navigate. You can also navigate by using these over here, and we'll talk about that later on. So first off, this is only the left side. Well, there's also a right side to this panel. So how do you do that? First, you want to right click. You see these white lines into the object? That basically means the object is selected. So you want to right click on that. It's going to open up your menu off to the side. And what we're going to do is we're going to clone it. It's the second option down. And it's going to ask you how many clones do you want. Well, this is where you want to make multiples. If you want to make multiples of 10 of any particular object, you can do it this way. I only need one, so we're going to go ahead and clone it this way. Now the clone, I'm going to select this side. That's the clone one. So just left click on that. As you can see now, it's highlighted. And we're going to right click on that again because I want the right side. Remember, this is the left side. What I want to do is go down here to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9th option where it says mirror. Now when you mirror it, you're going to flip it. When you flip it, you have the secondary option of either the X, Y, and Z. I think the X is it will flip it. Actually, we'll just do it. So when you flip the X, it's gonna, instead of this way, it's gonna make it flat like that. Oh. Yeah, it didn't do that. I think it flipped it this way to the other side. So you don't want to do that. I think mine was flip on the Y axis. So if you make a mistake like that, then at the top right here is the undo button. And it's gonna put it back in. I'm pretty sure with mine, when I did it, I flipped it, I mirrored it using the Y axis. Yes. So now you have a mirror of the other side of what I want to do. Anyway, so now I've created a clone of it. I've created the right side. As you can see, it's now mirrored. And we're gonna go over to, you have right here, it says quality, strength, and support. I'm gonna leave that alone as it is, but the layer height basically determines how clean your layer lines are. The layer height right now is standard, but you can change that, I think, to 0.18 or 0.08. I'm sorry, 0.08 will make it more finer and finer, but it will take the job longer and longer. So I'm gonna leave that alone for now because we're completely newbies on this one. And yeah, so but look at that guy. He explains it more. What we want to talk about is support, and support is trying to read it through my there's support right there. What support does is it gives you the support on your object, right? Right now I currently have it on tree, and I'll show you what the tree looks like. And in order to know what it looks like, you're gonna go up here in preview, and when you do that, the computer is gonna think the whole thing up, and it's gonna add the support trees. Now we're gonna look over here. Now you can see the support trees are added. The original object, the panels, are in orange, and the trees are in green. The blue is the bed on the object. The bed is created to stabilize your object. It might not be necessary, but it's been highly recommended to do so. And as you can see, it's all generated automatically. I'm not going to go into manual because I have no idea how to do that. Reading right here, reading the things here, as an explanation, it will tell you how much filament will be used, in my case 90 grams, and the actual model we use up 79 grams. The prepare time, I'm not going to know about that. Model printing time is 3 hours and 21 minutes. Okay, total time 3 hours and 21 minutes. The other thing too is once you're here, what he says is you want to go down to the sliding bar here, and you want to bring it down to the very, very first layer. This is in preparation to see how well this is going to prepare you to figure out where your print might fail. So again, we're going to left click it to move it around. This is actually better than my first one, I think. And I'm going to move it like as slowly as I can, one layer up at a time, and build it up. This is building up, as you can see, the piece when you drag it, when you slide it up and down. As you can see, this is actually much better than my first one, because the first one, see this layer of orange? It wasn't there. It was actually the orange was from here to only maybe 75%, And as you move it up, then it started showing up, and that was a point of failure, because that means that 75%, the first layer line was good, and then 25% was floating. I don't know. I don't know why this one's better now than before. And then, so we'll build it up, and we'll see it build. And this is how it would look like when you're printing it too. And also, I'm gonna zoom in. When you zoom in, you use your scroll button on the mouse to scroll in. And then, see these blue parts here? Those blue parts mean it's hanging. That means it's an undercut. So look at my hand right now. See how vertical is this way? This is what's called hanging. The tree, when this printing off the bed is connected, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, where's this part at? And it's like, whoa, we're gonna drip like SpaghettiOs because there's no support. So you're supposed to create a support like that. So blue part means, oh, there's an overhang here, and be very careful and everything. So what a lot of people recommend the tree support as the best support. So as I said, this is just a recreation of what I did. I've already printed out the object already anyway. We're gonna change the type of support tree to normal, auto, and then I'm gonna go back to prepare, because that's the only way I know how to, and then preview. So now that's the only way for me to tell the computer to go ahead and make another one. So this one, going back into the description, now it's gonna take 88.9 grams and 78 grams for the actual model, and it's gonna take 3 hours and 13 minutes. About 30 minutes less time than the tree, and less filament. But this is supposed to be less reliable. But you can see that now it created a support for this one. And see where it's light green and then dark green? I'm not entirely sure, but I think it means that the light green is an area of support that's not touching the actual build. It's only in the dark green that it starts to touch the build plate to support it. I think. I'm not entirely sure, but that's what I think. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, and I'm going to look at this one part of the build, because now it kind of looks like there's a very, very thin layer here that's connected to the base right here, and then there's a green part, which means either there's a secondary outer wall that's kind of floating. It looks like it. Anyway, so now we're gonna stick with this tree support, normal support, because that's how I printed the first one that I did. I'm gonna zoom in on this part again, because there's another overhang right here, so it created that one, and then this is another overhang, so it created support there too. So interesting. And then you might be able to see a blue line here, but it didn't create a support on that one. On my last one it did, which is kind of weird. It's like, it seems, but in the last one I was messing around a lot. It was the first time I've done, and I was moving the actual plate in the build plate, the actual object in the build plate, and I think I messed it up a little bit. But as you'll see, it still turned out pretty okay. Anyway, now that it's done, what you want to go is, if you're satisfied with what it looks like, you're gonna go to export G code over here. Now I have mine connected to the USB, so we're gonna go export G code, and it's gonna pop up the window of the save file, and this is where basically you choose where you want to put your save file. Right, and you press save. It's in the USB, and then you put it in the printer. I think that pretty much covers everything that I did. Like I said, the other guy, Itsmeadmade explains it so much more better than I ever could. I actually went ahead and subscribed to him because he did it so well in explaining it. But anyway, that's it for Orca Slicer and how to prepare your file for printing. Yes. Well, the other thing too that I did learn, because like I said, initially there was a concern whether it's floating or not. I think I went to strength. Let's do the prepare first, and then I go to strength. Is that what it is? Okay, so no, I didn't go to strength. So what I did was I went back to prepare, because that's where you prepare the model, and we're gonna select the object again, and then see this object over here. So what that does is it says lay on face, but what it actually does is it creates these objects, see right here, and what it does is oops, that's wrong. It shrunk it, and I didn't want to do that, so I'm gonna go back to undo. Okay, so here's the bottom of the object, right? I'll flip it around again so you can see. And my concern was the bottom, because I thought that it wasn't laying flat, because remember I was moving around. So what this will do is it will lay it flat on the horizon of the build plate. That's what I mean by lay on face. But you're gonna choose the biggest object of this shapes that it added, because that's basically means that that's the biggest surface that we can see. We're gonna, and you see how now it's highlighting it. When you click on that and the object move, it basically means that biggest surface on the bottom, we're gonna orient it and lay it as flat as possible to the horizontal of the build plate. And now when you go ahead and go to support and preview, you'll see, I'll do it really quickly, but it's kind of hard to show it to you because this actually turned out being perfect. So we're gonna go back to the first layer line, and we're gonna rotate it. And as you can see, I actually kind of messed it up by doing that, I think, because it should be mirroring this one, and I lost this part. See? So now when you build it up, then you see it coming in now. See how this is orange? At this particular layer, at I think layer 3, this part still hasn't been built yet. So I actually even messed it up by changing the orientation of how it lays flat. And it's only until build layer 6 that it actually builds that part. That's weird though, because I think that's just the support. I don't know. Huh. Anyway, I'll discuss that a little bit more once I examine the unit. But anyway, that's how you prevent any problems with your initial base, because the base is very, very important. You need to establish a good 3D print of the base, not just the base here, but your first initial layers has to be your strongest layer, is what I've learned. And then you can kind of um, the rest of the layers it's fine. And there's ways to what they also recommend. That's in the future. This is we're still just doing the beginning part. Anyway, that's it. So we've done the checking up already, and I've told you how to export it to your USB. And now we'll move on to the USB part.